The new animation style of the new season is simply magnificent, and in today's video I will show and explain everything about the new animation, as it will be even better than what we saw in Dragon Ball Daima. So without further delay, let's go. The new Dragon Ball Super anime season promises to be a watershed moment in the franchise's history, perhaps the most ambitious and technically impressive phase in the entire history of the franchise. Toei Animation, aware of the importance of Dragon Ball Super's return after years of absence from television, is assembling a true dream team of animators and directors with legendary names and unmistakable styles that have marked generations. The studio is betting high, and everything indicates that this new season will be the climax of the series' visual and narrative quality. The first name that draws attention is Yuya Takahashi, the most acclaimed artist of the modern Dragon Ball era. His striking style, with firm lines and intense expressions, conveys brutality and emotion in fights like few others can. He was responsible for the most epic visuals of the Tournament of Power and the absurd fluidity of the Goku vs. Jiren battle. His return is practically the confirmation that the battles of this new phase will be painted with blood, sweat, and pure energy, exactly the kind of art that older fans love. But Takahashi is not the only one returning. Naohiro Shintani, the chief animation director of the movie Dragon Ball Super Broly, is also confirmed, and this alone changes the game. Shintani's style is softer, with rounded faces, clean lines, and a cinematic dynamism that made the Broly movie considered a visual milestone within the franchise. His presence means that the new season will not only be fluid, but also cinematic and modern, without losing the classic charm that the audience loves. Another legendary and highly anticipated name is Natoshi Shida, the master of quick cuts and electrifying action scenes. Every time Shida animates a scene, the result is an energy spectacle, with bold camera angles and absurd visual impact. He was responsible for moments like Goku's final blow against Kefla and several scenes from the Broly movie. If he is back, we can expect fights that will redefine the concept of epic in Dragon Ball Super. And to balance the different styles, the classic Tadayoshi Yamamuro is also expected to make an appearance. Yamamura was the visual pillar of Dragon Ball Z and Super for decades, responsible for consolidating the character's visual identity. Although many fans criticized the excess of rigidity in the art style of the Super era, there is no denying that Yamamura understands the franchise's visual essence like few others. His experience will bring consistency and identity, uniting the old and the new in a perfect fusion. Another name that can bring visual freshness and an even higher technical level is Takashi Kubota, the one responsible for the animation direction of the One Punch Man special and several iconic scenes from Naruto Shippuden. His style is detailed, focusing on body realism and fluid dynamism. If Kubota indeed participates, we will have an almost unprecedented mix in Dragon Ball. Kubota's physical realism with the stylized energy of Takahashi and Shida, an explosive combination. But perhaps the biggest surprise is the presence of Katsuyoshi Nakatsuru, the main animator and character designer of Dragon Ball Daima. He was responsible for keeping Toriyama's soul alive in every detail of that project, from the shape of the eyes to the simple and vibrant shadows that recall the 90s style. Nakatsuru always had the talent to unite nostalgia and modernity, and if he is truly involved in the new season of Super, the result will be a harmonious blend of the past and the present, which can please both Z fans and the Super era fans. Toei Animation seems to be aware that Dragon Ball Super needs to return with something monstrous, capable of visually competing with current giants like Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man. That is why the studio is investing not only in big names but in style coordination, something that Dragon Ball has never had at a high level. The idea is that each arc has its own visual identity, while maintaining a constant quality, something that was lacking in the first version of Super. Another point that draws attention is the artistic direction and the use of colors, which will be influenced by the Daima aesthetics. This means more vibrant tones, striking contrasts, and a more natural use of lighting, something that can elevate the anime to a technical level rarely seen in the franchise. The intention is to create a season that is visually and emotionally intense, highlighting not only the fighting but also the drama, expression, and atmosphere of the characters. Rumors also indicate that Toei is using a hybrid pipeline with traditional 2D animation mixed with modern techniques of digital compositing and light 3D, something very similar to what was seen in Broly. That is, the camera movement will be more natural, the blows will have depth, and the visual impact will be three-dimensional without losing the classic identity. All this with a rendering that promises to be more polished than ever. The new season, therefore, will not just be a continuation of Super, it will be a complete reconstruction of the franchise in visual and technical terms, a new starting point that will show the world that Dragon Ball is still capable of leading the shonen genre even after almost 40 years. Fans can expect fights choreographed with surgical precision, intense expressions, and a fluidity that will make every episode look like a movie. And the most impressive thing of all is that this union of legendary artists is not casual. Toei is setting up an international production line, seeking to maintain a quality standard worthy of Akira Toriyama's legacy, especially now that he is no longer with us. This season will be, above all, a living tribute to the creator of Dragon Ball, with every frame drawn as if it were a love letter to the universe he created. The new Dragon Ball Super season will not just be a sequel, it will be an artistic rebirth. With Takahashi, Shintani, Shida, Yamamuro, Kubota, and Nakatsuru working together, the result can only be colossal. The franchise is about to enter a new era, where the art style, color, and movement merge with emotion and nostalgia. A true visual and emotional spectacle that promises to ignite the anime world again and show that Dragon Ball is still very far from reaching its limit. This time, the production of the new Dragon Ball Super season had something that is worth more than gold in the animation industry: time. And this changes everything. In the previous season, deadlines were extremely short, scripts arrived at the last minute, and animators were forced to work at an insane pace, which resulted in countless episodes with inconsistent quality. Now, with years of planning and a carefully elaborated schedule, Toei can finally deliver the level of excellence that Dragon Ball has always deserved and that fans have been waiting for so long. During the first phase of Super, many professionals reported that the anime was produced almost simultaneously with its broadcast, which forced animation directors to redo frames in a hurry and sacrifice the fluidity of the fights. The result was visible: poorly finished episodes, distorted frames, and scenes that became memes on the internet. This time, however, the situation is completely different. The studio learned from its mistakes and decided to prioritize quality above all else, maintaining a production front several months in advance. This means that every episode can be reviewed calmly with enough time for fine adjustments in lighting, scene composition, and character movement. The team now has the creative freedom to refine every blow, every transformation, and every facial expression without the pressure of delivering the material in record time. This guarantees a much more polished and cinematic result, worthy of the grandeur that the Dragon Ball Super name carries. Another important factor is that, with this extra time, directors can better synchronize the animation with the soundtrack and sound effects, something that makes a gigantic difference in the immersion of the battles. In Dragon Ball Super Broly, this marriage between image and sound was one of the major highlights, and everything indicates that the new season will follow the same path. The fight scenes will not just be visual but complete experiences where every punch is felt, every explosion vibrates, and every transformation scream gives you chills. In addition, Toei had time to invest in new production technologies such as digital animation software and hybrid rendering systems. The pipeline is more modern, allowing a smooth integration between traditional 2D and light 3D used in dynamic camera shots. This is essential for an anime like Dragon Ball, which relies on fast movements and sudden changes in perspective. The final result should be a more fluid visual with depth and visual impact superior to what we have seen before. Animators also had the chance to work with more detailed storyboards, something that rarely happened in the rushed production of the first season. Now, every sequence is thought out with millimeter precision, ensuring coherence in action scenes and perfect continuity between frames. This not only improves fluidity, but also the visual narrative, allowing the battles to tell stories on their own with emotion, intensity, and clarity, as in the best phases of Dragon Ball Z. With all this time, care, and dedication, it is practically certain that the final result will be a visual milestone in the franchise's history. The new season of Dragon Ball Super will not be just another continuation, but a proof of Toei Animation's technical and artistic maturation. This time, everything indicates that we will no longer see rush, flaws, or inconsistencies. We will see the definitive Dragon Ball, where every episode will be worthy of being watched several times. A production made with time, passion, and respect for the legacy, and that is why, this time, something truly grandiose will emerge. But comment on what you thought of all this, and don't forget the like. Thank you very much for the support from all of you, and until next time.